Throughout the history of sports, cities have been defined by their sports teams. Recently, we saw how the Toronto Raptors define not only their city, but an entire country. However, a team in the MLB might be on the verge of challenging this dynamic between cities and their teams. One team that belongs to two different cities. Sounds crazy, right? Never mind two different cities, but a team that belongs to two different countries. On June 20th, the Tampa Bay Rays were granted permission by Major League Baseball to explore the idea of their team being a part of two different cities within two halves of the same season. One half of the season would be played in Tampa Bay, and the other half would be played in Montreal, Canada. Now, many fans have rallied for Montreal to get a baseball team after the departure of the Montreal Expos in 2004. This proposal has gotten the baseball world talking, and for good reason. So let's look over why the Rays would explore this idea and if it could actually be feasible. The Tampa Bay Rays are in a weird spot for their franchise. They are a small market team with the lowest payroll in the league, but have created a young winning team through trades and player development. This is the dream for small market teams. The problem is that the city does not seem to care, as is a theme with Florida baseball teams. Tampa Bay is 29th in average attendance this season, and if you look at their previous seasons, low attendance is a common theme. So why do these attendance figures matter right now? Well, there has been talk of relocation and expansion for a while now in the MLB, and the team most likely to relocate is the Tampa Bay Rays. For many years, the Rays have been talking with the city of St. Petersburg, where Tropicana Field is currently located, to build a new stadium. The team has revealed plans to build a new stadium in the past, but the question that derails all stadium talks has crept in. Who would pay for this stadium? The team is adamant that they do not possess the funds to fully pay for this stadium. Now, we know what recent history has taught us. When a city does not give in to a team's demands, they will pack up and leave. It doesn't matter how established that team is in the community, or if the place they are moving to does not want them. The owner will have their way. We saw this in the NFL with two teams, the Rams and the Chargers, and we will be seeing this again with the Raiders moving to Las Vegas. So the Rays owner might see this and think, well, the city won't give in to our demands, and the relocation process is messy. This is where the two-city proposal comes into play. So why did they choose Montreal? If you do not follow baseball, let me try to explain. Montreal had a team called the Expos from 1969 to 2004, where the team relocated to Washington, D.C. and became the Washington Nationals. The city loved the team, and many great players played in Montreal. Hall of Famers Vladimir Guerrero and Pedro Martinez spent a good portion of their careers in Montreal, and 3 players in the Hall of Fame currently have Expo caps on their plaques. Those players being Tim Raines, Gary Carter, and Andre Dawson. So Montreal does have a history of baseball that is rooted deeply into the community. Unfortunately, the team did not win anything. They did not ever go to the World Series. In their entire history, they only won 1 division title. The city may have loved the team, but the team never produced a winner, and they had a history of star players leaving the team. So, in the years before the team left, attendance dwindled and got worse every single season until the team's departure in 2004. Basically, the team had shown reluctance to spend money for years in free agency and when keeping their own players. It became a pattern that the fans and city got sick of. So, when it came time for new stadium talks, the city would not give in to the owner's demands as the team was pressuring the city to pay for the stadium. However, recent years have shown rising support for the Expos to come back as the city of Montreal has grown and prospered. This is why the Rays chose Montreal, as it is a former market with a clear interest in a baseball franchise. So, can a two-city, one-team proposal work? Well, let's look back to Montreal, or should I say, Puerto Rico. Yeah, you heard that right. To quickly summarize why the Expos did this, the team was getting ready to leave to DC, but their revenue was decreasing. So, to increase revenue, they decided to play 22 of their 81 home games in Puerto Rico. In fact, they did this for 2 straight seasons in 2003 and 2004. So, it's basically the equivalent of the Jacksonville Jaguars playing in London once every season. How did the games go for the Expos? Well, they went pretty well. The stadium was full and the Puerto Rican media covered the Expos as their home team. This makes sense as Puerto Rico has a rich history of talented baseball players. They have always shown great support towards their players and the game itself.
By the warning track, at the wall, gone!
However, what Montreal did in the past is not relevant to what the Rays are proposing today. The Rays are proposing something permanent, which the Puerto Rico Expos was not. But why would the MLB be on board with this proposal? They are the ones that allowed this proposal to go to the next stage if the Rays chose to do so. Well, Commissioner Rob Manfred has showed great desire to expand the MLB globally. In recent seasons, games have taken place outside of the US in countries like Mexico and Japan. This makes sense as baseball is a sport that is played all over the world. Manfred is just trying to explore possibilities to increase attention to the league in any way possible, no matter how peculiar the idea is. So back to the original question, can this proposal work? Well, no, it can't. There are so many reasons as to why this would not work and is nothing more than a negotiating tactic by the Rays. And frankly, it's a bad tactic by the Rays. If the city does not care already and they see their team living in another city half the season, why should fans care if a new stadium is being built and the team stays? They will only be able to see them for half their home games. Also, this does not solve the issue of the city building a new stadium for the Rays. The owner is still going to be adamant that they cannot build a stadium without the city's help. And since he is moving to a new city during the second half of the season, wouldn't he need to build a second stadium? The stadium in Montreal? Also, think about logistical issues. Players are already on the road for long periods at a time. Will they have to buy 2 houses? And this would be between 2 different countries. I know nothing about going between countries on a regular basis, but I have to assume it would be troublesome for the players. This would cause the team to be a tough sell in free agency as well. Overall, there are many things that would make this a hard sell for the cities, and the team needs the support of these cities, and if anything, this alienates the team more from St. Petersburg and the Tampa Bay area in general. I saw an interesting quote by agent Scott Boras, which I feel is a great summarization of the motives behind this proposal. Quote, "It's a very interesting concept to force one city or the other to build a stadium rapidly, which I think is the real idea behind it all. This proposal is just ridiculous to me, but it's a fun idea to think about. I would really love to see baseball back in Montreal or in any new city like Portland or Charlotte. In the end, I don't think the Rays will be staying in Tampa Bay. It's probably for the best anyway. This situation is similar to the Expos situation, and if the Rays ever get into the financial complications that the Expos did, they will definitely leave. It's really a shame to see a team leave a city, leaving a community behind that supports them, no matter how prevalent that support is. Personally, I have gone through a team leaving, and it sucks. But a city should not have to pay for a stadium in order for their team to stay. And if this proposal shows us anything, it's that the owners will stop at nothing to get what they want. Thanks for watching.